Welcome back to Final Fantasy III. In the previous episode I flew through the Dark Valley, arriving at Doga's manor, exploring the Cave of the Circle so Doga could enchant the airship Nautilus to be able to submerge underwater. I gathered much treasure at a sunken cave, proved myself to Odin at the Saronia catacombs, after which I explored the Temple of Time, finding Noah's loot, which I used to wake up Une. Together, we braved the ancient ruins, uncovering the airship Invincible. This airship's ability to fly over mountains will be needed to uncover the last elemental Fang. So let's get to it. I go southwest of Saronia, flying over mountains to reach the remote village of Falgabard. Facilities here include an inn, an item shop, a revival spring, a weapon shop that sells Ashuras, Yoichi bows, and Yoichi arrows, and an armor shop that sells demon mail and demon shields, as well as a magic shop that sells level 3 spells. A mystic knight tells of the Masamune. Another one says that there were others capable of using the dark blades, those being the ninjas. The monsters at the nearby cave can only be defeated by dark blades. I cross the woods into a waterfall. The old man there challenges me to combat for the Kikui Chimonji. This shinobi is a strong attacker that can also cast blind. Once I defeat him, I'm rewarded with the Kikui Chimonji, a dark elemental weapon just like all the other dark blades. I then go south, finding 2 high potions, a set of demon mail, and a demon shield hidden away in the grass. I change Alex to a mystic knight, equipping him with the new additions to my inventory. I then enter the cave, going south to open a chest that contains a force hammer. I then go through the tunnels to the north and east, opening chests that contain a kotetsu that I give to Alex and an Ashura. I then go south and east, opening a chest that contains demon mail. I return to the Nautilus, going to Doga's village to buy bio for Alice, then take off on the Invincible, going north of Amur and crossing a mountain range. Random encounters can occur at air here, with the Invincible firing cannonballs at start of combat. After crossing this labyrinthine range, I find the entrance to the Cave of Shadows. New enemies here include the Kronos, a strong dividing enemy, Vasagos, another strong divider, and Hellish Horses. Pretty strong, they have no tricks. I go east, opening a chest that contains a Lamia scale, then go south and east, finding a chest that has Bacchus's wine. A mystic knight that offers a kotetsu, as well as stairs to another room that has stairs to the 2nd floor. Here I go north and west, opening a chest that contains a tranquilizer, then go further north and west, opening a chest that holds a Lilith's Kiss. It steals HP from enemies. I go east, south and west, climbing down to the 4th floor. I go south and west to another room. At the end of a long tunnel that takes me southeast, I find a chest that contains Genji gloves that I give to Alex. These gloves grant an immunity to poison, toad, confusion, sleep, and petrification, both partial and full. This is a common attribute of Genji equipment. I return to the previous room, traveling through the south corridor, finding another room. The 2nd tunnel here takes me to the 4th floor. The southeast tunnel here takes me to the 5th floor. I then go west and south, opening a chest that contains a Kikui Chimonji. I give it to Alex. I then go east, south and west, taking the central tunnel, finding stairs to the 6th floor. I go south and east, taking the south tunnel to a chest that contains a Genji shield. Besides its protective properties, it also grants +5 agility and +5 strength. I then take the northern tunnel, which takes me to stairs to the 7th floor. I go east, opening a chest that has a Genji helm that I give to Alex. I then go back west and south, taking the west tunnel, going east and north, finding a tunnel to the 8th floor. Going south to open a chest that contains a set of Genji armor that I give to Alex. I then cross the bridge, going east and south through the tunnel. At the end of it, I find the Fang of Earth. It is guarded by a Hecaton Kair, a strong attacker. After getting the Fang, I teleport out. I go to Saronia to buy a protect spell for Alvin. I decide to make a visit to the floating continent, flying over mountains to reach Lake Dohr. I change Alex to Viking, buying 2 great axes at the Invincible store, then row on the canoe above a shadow on the lake, being taken to the caves of Lake Dohr. New enemies here include Plankties, annoying enemies that use sleep-inducing glares, Sea Lions, a strong attacker, and Remoras, another strong attacker. I go southeast, opening chests that contain a Phoenix Down, an Arctic Wind that inflicts strong ice damage, a Heavenly Raft that inflicts strong lightning damage, and an Earthen Drum. I then go north, opening chests that contain 3 high potions and an elixir. I then climb down to the 2nd floor, going north to find chests that contain White Musk that inflicts great holy elemental damage, an Aegis shield, a Lamia scale, a Bacchus's wine, and a turtle shell. I then go southeast, climbing down to the 3rd floor, going north, opening chests that contain a black hole, a force hammer, and a set of reflect mail. I go east, opening a chest that contains Black Musk. It can one-shot enemies. I then go back east and southwest, opening chests that have a Raven's Yawn that inflicts strong air damage, and a Lilith's Kiss. Nearby are the stairs to the 4th floor. At the end of the bridges here is Leviathan, who challenges me to a test of strength. The Leviathan is a strong boss that can also use the Tidal Wave ability for great party-wide non-elemental damage. Alvin casts haste on Alex, Alan cheers on, while Alice casts Quake. After defeating him, I get the Leviathan spell. Evokers can summon Leviathan for either petrification status or air elemental damage. I teleport out of the cave and set out for my next destination. I fly over the mountains near Tozas, change Alex to Knight, then enter the nearby cave, Bahamut's Lair. New enemies found here include Drakes, a strong attacker, Grenades, they are capable of self-destructing, Greater Boros, they can poison with their attacks, Saber-tooth Fligers, another strong attacker, and Queen Lamias. They induce sleep with their attacks and confusion with their glares. I go south, opening chests that contain a Heavenly Wrath and an Earthen Drum, then go east and north, finding chests that have a Phoenix Down and an Arctic Wind. I then go back south and east, climbing down to the second floor. I go counterclockwise along the bridges, finding chests that have a Golem Staff, a Bacchus's Wine, a Lamia Scale, a Turtle Shell, and a Chocobo's Wrath. This item can inflict massive non-elemental damage. I then climb down to the 4th floor. I go north, finding chests that contain Black Musk, a Phoenix Down, an Elixir, and a Kotetsu. I then go east, being called outside by Bahamut for a challenge. This time he's got a much smaller but still considerable amount of HP, having a strong attack, elemental resistances, and the Mega Flare ability for massive party-wide non-elemental damage. I give Alex free Bacchus's Wine, greatly increasing his damage output. With Bahamut's defeat, I receive the Bahamut spell. Evokers can summon Bahamut for either massive healing or single target non-elemental damage. Annoyingly, I have to track back to the entrance in order to get out of here. I take off on the Nautilus to Doga's Manor. As I enter, I'm immediately taken to Doga's Grotto. New enemies here include Cyclopses, a strong enemy, Nemesis, they can inflict paralysis with their attacks and confusion with their glares, Ogres, another strong attacker, and Humbabas, an enemy similar to the Cyclops. I go through the western path, finding a room to the south, going west, opening a chest that has 20,000 gil, then go south and east, finding a chest that has another 20,000 gil. I then climb down to the 2nd floor, going north and west, finding chests that contain 3 shining curtains. They grant the reflect effect. I then go east, finding a chest that has another curtain, and stairs to the 3rd floor. I go along the path, finding Doga and Une at the end. To restore the Eureka key, I must defeat both of them. The party is reluctant, so Doga decides to be proactive. He's got strong spells like Quake and Drain, and can also cast Breakgun. I buff Alex with Haste, while Alice casts Bio. Alvin busies himself with Kuraja and Stoner for the rest of the fight. Once Doga is done, Une follows up. She can cast Reflect and Tornado, as well as use Snowstorm. I follow up with much of the same strategy. With both defeated, Doga gives me the Eureka key, and Une gives me the Syrcus key. With these keys and the Fangs, I now have the means to face Xanda. This has been a shorter travel. I readied myself in Falgabard, so I could brave the Cave of Shadows and defeat its dividing enemies, recovering the Fang of Earth at the end. Then I made a return trip to the floating continent, going to Lake Dohr to face Leviathan, and Bahamut's Lair to face Bahamut, gaining both of them as summons. I then went to Doga's Manor, being transported to Doga's Grotto, defeating both Doga and Une to recover the Eureka and Syrcus keys. Having both keys and Fangs, I must head towards Syrcus Tower, where Xanda lies. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, as I finally face Xanda and stop the Flood of Darkness.